الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله صلى الله تعالى عليه وعلى آله وأصحابه وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا كثيرا. أما بعد فأعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. واعبدوا الله ولا تشركوا به شيئا وبالوالدين إحسانا وبذي القربى واليتامى والمساكين والجار ذي القربى والجار الجنب والصاحب بالجنب وابن السبيل وما ملكت أيمانكم. وقال تعالى: الطيبات للطيبين والطيبون للطيبات والخبيثات للخبيثين والخبيثون للخبيثات. وقال النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم: خير متاع الدنيا كلها متاع وخير متاع الدنيا المرأة الصالحة، أو كما قال عليه الصلاة والسلام. صدق الله العظيم وصدق رسوله النبي الكريم، ونحن على ما قال ربنا وخالقنا ورازقنا لمن الشاهدين والشاكرين، والحمد لله رب العالمين. اللهم صل وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ومولانا محمد عبدك ورسولك النبي الأمي نبي الرحمة، كما تحب وترضاه عدد ما تحب وترضاه، كلما ذكره الذاكرون وكلما غفل عن ذكره الغافلون. Respected elders, brothers, sisters, and friends, in the short amount of time I have today, it probably won't offer any solution, but there's a problem, and this problem is increasing, and it's something that we should at least become aware of. I think many are aware of, but it's for us as a community, as families, to find a solution to this. Now, before we get into that, just some background. Last week in tafsir, we did the ayah, وَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا. We have every Friday night, we have this tafsir. وَعْبُدُوا اللَّهَ وَلَا تُشْرِكُوا بِهِ شَيْئًا وَبِالْوَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا وَبِذِي الْقُرْبَى وَالْيَتَامَى. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions 10 classes of people who have rights, who have huquq on us. One of them is وَالصَّاحِبِ بِالْجَنْبِ وَابْنِ السَّبِيلِ. وَالصَّاحِبِ بِالْجَنْبِ, the one who's with you all the time, right? Or the one who's with you. So at different times in our life, at different moments, we have different sahib bil jam. Right now, we have Manzoor Bhai here. Next to him, his sahib bil jam is Abbas Bhai. And I think a lot of times they're sahib bil jam because they're together a lot, right? And we have friends that we're always with. Sometimes people who we don't really see, but we just happen to be on a plane, on a train, in a car, they are sahib bil jam. We have to treat them nicely, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says they have a right on us. But who is Sahib bil jam fi dunya wal akhirah? Who's our Sahib bil jam? Who's by our side in this world and the next? Whether you like it or not, a lot of times it's the spouse, right? It's a spouse. You know, somebody, they told me a joke. Take it as a joke. Don't cancel me afterwards. He said that there's a man on the Day of Judgment, he got into Jannah. Very happy that he got into Jannah. And he's relaxing. All of a sudden something happened, so he began banging on the doors of Jannah. He's like, let me out, let me out. He said, what happened? He said that I worked so hard in my life to get away from her and now she's here. Sisters can say the same about their husband, no problem. The thing is, that's life, right? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has made spouses the people who we spend the majority of our life with. You get married when you're in your early 20s, maybe late 20s, and if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives you a healthy life, you live till 70, 80 years old nowadays. You spend all of that time with them, and inshallah they'll be your spouse in Jannah as well. But there's two things that we have to consider today. Number one, leading up to the marriage, who do we choose to be our spouse? Number two, what do we do after the marriage? Now the problem that I wanted to present today is, as an imam, myself, Imam Ihsan could say the same thing. In 10 years, we see that the divorce rate amongst Muslims is sky high, right? It's going up, 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 up. But particularly very early. If a couple stays together 5 years, inshallah, there's ups and downs, they can maintain the marriage, right? But sometimes within 2-3 months, divorces occur. Within 1 year, divorce occurs. Within 2 years, divorce occurs. What is the cause for this? So the first thing is that when we're looking for a spouse, what is to be considered? And there's a misunderstanding here. Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he said, "Tunkahul mar'atu bi'arba'in." That a woman, she's married for 4 reasons, right? And Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, he mentioned the person's deen, their beauty, their wealth, and their nasab, their family lineage. And then he said, choose deen, choose deen. What happens, some people, they misunderstand this hadith. So they say that the only thing to look at a person in a potential spouse is deen. There's some people, they don't ever look at that. They just look at, beauty, or my parents chose them, whatever. That's a different thing. Some people, what they do is they just look at the person's deen. They don't look at anything else. They don't look at compatibility. They don't look at attraction even. And what happens after the marriage occurs, a bunch of problems begin to occur. And then the person said, well, I looked at their deen. They seem to be a pious person. That's all fine and good, but Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam never said, don't consider the other factors. The other factors are things that you have to see. If you want to benefit from somebody's deen, you also have to be attracted to them. You also have to be compatible with them. You also have to be able to give them a lifestyle that they're used to so that they could show you their goodness as well. These are things that we need to consider when looking for rishtas, or children, people for our children to marry, or if we're looking to marry ourselves, right? Because that's one time, sometimes children are forced into marriages. Why? Oh, he seems to be pious. But you have to look at the other things, otherwise you're setting the marriage up for a huge disaster. Right? You'll see fights occur between pious people. Why? Because that compatibility, it was never examined. The second thing is that we also have to be realistic, right? We have to be realistic about ourselves and about our spouse, what we expect in them. Realistic about ourselves, sometimes, somebody, they sent me on Facebook yesterday, there was some person, they had their bio data online. It was like 3 pages long. I think the requirements to even talk to this person was more stringent than getting admitted to Harvard or Yale, right? Now, the question I have is, what is this person? Who does the person think that they are, right? Each of us have our flaws. If I know that, I'm not the best looking person, can I demand, a hur from Jannah on this earth? No, you have to be realistic. Otherwise, you're going to be waiting for so long, and then when you get married, you're going to feel entitled, and it's going to cause a lot of other problems in the marriage. That's one. The second thing is, in terms of what our spouses do after getting married, we have to look at the time and place as well, right? We have a lot of people, what they do is, they grow up, or in the older generation perhaps, men didn't have to do a lot of work at home. That time is gone. Now, if you don't do work at home, many times girls, they don't have to do work at home anymore either. This is maybe the biggest problem in this age. And I'm sorry if I feel like I'm going on, but this is like 10 years of experience I'm giving you. Inshallah, consider these when you're looking at your children. Everybody is just so focused on their children's education. We don't teach them life skills. So boys, they don't do any work, right? All they do, the parents, I have some students, they're in college. They said that their mother even now does their laundry. Their mother feeds them food, makes them niwalas, just study. Just make sure that you do good on your MCAT, right? Make sure that you get a good SAT score. Around this area, there's people like this. Girls as well. Parents say, study, study, study. Don't worry about all the other things. We'll take care of this. Now you have two people who are never used to taking care of themselves. You put them together. Now there's work. There has to be some division of labor. Each person thinks that their career is important. Each person thinks that their goals are important. What do you think is going to happen? There's going to be conflicts, there's going to be fights, there's going to be all sorts of drama. Because neither side expected that I have to do anything, because somebody has been doing things for me my entire life. So if we want to be a good spouse, one thing that we have to do is we have to be considerate of the other. And I'll just end with this. When we look at our Sharia, when we look at the spirit of the Sharia, when we look at the Quran, when we look at the Hadith, we see that when Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam or Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Quran mentions the rights of people, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala never addresses a group of people and says, these are your rights, go and fight for them. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala addresses a group of people and say, these are the rights that you need to give to others, i.e., these are your responsibilities. These are your responsibilities, you need to fulfill them. So Allah mentions the rights, Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentions the rights of a husband. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions the rights of a wife in the Quran. But He doesn't tell the wife, He doesn't address the wife and say these are your rights. Allah addresses the husband. Allah subhanahu Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, He doesn't address the husband and say that these are your rights. Rather He addresses the wives and say this is what you have to give to our husband. And so what Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam taught us, what Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is teaching us, that there's one thing that's in our control, and that's our actions. And sometimes you will get what you deserve on the basis of your goodness. You did what you had to do, so you'll get what you deserve as well. And other times you won't. This is why Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam, he told the Ansar that after me, you're going to be oppressed, you're going to be passed over. People, they won't be fair to you. They said, Ya Rasulullah, should we fight? Rasulullah said, no. Be patient, Allah will take care of you in the akhirah. Meaning you have rights, but your rights are not going to be fulfilled. Don't fight for them, let them go. That's when you practice sabr. That's what we have to do as well. Go into a marriage, right? Or if we're already in a marriage, look, what is my job? Am I fulfilling it? How should my akhlaq be? Am I doing that? And then after that, see what happens. Inshallah, khair will come. If it doesn't, if the marriage can be kept together, keep it together, right? Sometimes marriage is something that, it elevates a person. You'll see that spouses together, they don't get along at the beginning, but they end up making one another pious. They begin to see the goodness of one another. And sometimes it's a spouse that's difficult to deal with. It's the means of a person becoming very close to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Nuh alayhi salam, Lut alayhi salam, Asiya radiyallahu anha. We have examples like this. So again, there's no real solution that I offer today, but it's a problem, and it's a problem that we all have to address individually in our homes and then as a community as well. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow and put barakah in our marriages. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala allow those who aren't married to find great, beautiful spouses that are suitable to them and that are their companion, happy companion in this world and the hereafter. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save us from marital disputes. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala save our community from this epidemic of quick marriages, quick divorces. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين واستغفر إنه الغفور الرحيم. الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن سيدنا ونبينا وحبيبنا ومولانا محمدا عبده ورسوله. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. إن الله وملائكته يصلون على النبي يا أيها الذين آمنوا صلوا عليه وسلموا تسليما. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد بعدد من صلى وصام. اللهم صل على سيدنا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد بعدد من قعد وقام. وصلى الله تعالى على جميع الأنبياء والمرسلين والملائكة المقربين والخلفاء الراشدين وعلى الستة الباقية من العشرة المبشرة وسائر المهاجرين والأنصار والتابعين الأبرار الأخيار إلى يوم القرار رضوان الله تعالى عليهم أجمعين. اللهم اغفر لنا وللمؤمنين والمؤمنات والمسلمين والمسلمات الأحياء منهم والأموات إنك سميع قريب مجيب الدعوات. ربنا لا تزغ قلوبنا بعد إذ هديتنا وهب لنا من لدنك رحمة إنك أنت الوهاب. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. اللهم أعز الإسلام والمسلمين في كل مكان. اللهم انصر إخواننا في كل مكان. عباد الله رحمكم الله. إن الله يأمر بالعدل والإحسان وإيتاء ذي القربى وينهى عن الفحشاء والمنكر والبغي يعظكم لعلكم تذكرون. اذكروا الله يذكركم وادعوه يستجب لكم ولذكر الله أكبر والله يعلم ما تصنعون.